The Galactic broadcast stuttered mid-sentence, then went dead. For a heartbeat, silence blanketed the hall like ash after a firestorm. Then came the feed, grainy, shaky, real. A single gunshot. A human diplomat, unarmed and smiling, slumped forward in his chair. Blood bloomed across his chest like some cruel flower. From Earth's secure war room deep beneath Geneva crater, Commander Helena Voss didn't flinch. She watched the footage in absolute stillness, jaw locked, shoulders tight. Around her, advisors barked into comms and flailed through protocol trees, scrambling for damage control. Helena's brother was dead. Eli Voss, the peacekeeper, the optimist, the man who once disarmed a Thalran war cleric with nothing but a question, lay face down before the Galactic Council, a red pool spreading under his diplomatic robes. She reached forward, muted the room. "Loop it," she said. An aide hesitated. "Ma'am, it's—" "Loop it." The footage began again. The soldier, Xerian species, muscular, six-limbed, cold-eyed, didn't hesitate. He shot Eli mid-sentence, then turned his weapon upward as if daring the chamber to stop him. No one moved. Helena studied every micro-expression, every flicker of movement, as if the answer might lie buried in the shadows of the image. Her grief sat heavy but disciplined, locked in the vice grip of something far older and colder than sorrow, strategy. Hours later, at the Galactic Council's emergency tribunal aboard the neutral station Sanctum Accord, Helena entered flanked by silent, black-clad Earth security. The chamber fell quiet as she walked in. She didn't look at the representatives of the Creel Dominion, nor the trembling delegate from the Vator hives. Her gaze locked onto Chancellor Relax of Zyria, scaled, silver-skinned, and unrepentant. "Commander Voss," Relax began, his voice like frost across metal. "Let me express—" "Don't." She raised a hand. "Don't insult your dead with excuses." A murmur rippled across the room. Relax's tone darkened. "My soldier acted on instinct. You must understand, humans are unsettling. Their unpredictability has long disrupted peace." Helena took 2 steps forward. "You assassinated a peace envoy on neutral ground. This wasn't instinct. This was policy." "No." Relax's tongue flicked between sharp teeth. "This was containment." Helena's smile was the kind that chilled a battlefield. "Then allow me to educate you on human containment protocols." Later, aboard her private Earth vessel, Helena locked the doors, activated the signal scrambler, and opened a hidden comm channel. A black screen answered with a static pulse. She spoke one word. "Echo." A pause. Then, 0. The screen flared to life, revealing a Black Ops AI interface. Cold, emotionless, waiting. She uploaded the footage. "Target assessment, 1 diplomat. Dead. Timeline 2 hours. Initiate fallback sequence." The AI's voice responded with dispassionate precision. "Echo 0 confirmed. Awaiting confirmation of asset deployment." Helena stared at her own reflection in the screen's edge, older than she remembered, wearier, but still burning with something that wouldn't die. "Confirm it. Bring Leviathan online. Warning, use of Leviathan class intervention violates Union Treaty Protocol. Override code, Sundown Protocol. Confirm now." The AI paused. "Confirmed." She leaned back, exhaled once, slow and hollow. Somewhere in her chest, something cracked, quietly. By morning, the galactic feeds had sanitized the assassination. "Unfortunate diplomatic incident," one Vator anchor said, blinking compound eyes at the camera. "No confirmation yet whether retaliation will occur." On Earth, millions mourned. On Zyria, celebrations ignited in back alleys and palace halls alike, foolish, defiant, premature. But in the deep void between systems, where comms didn't reach and laws held no power, a dark weapon stirred. Leviathan, a device built in Earth's paranoid infancy, when alien empires first looked at humanity like prey, had not tasted activation in 57 years. It had never been tested. It had never been needed. Until now. Back aboard Sanctum Accord, Helena stood in front of Eli's memorial. His face smiled up from the hologram, frozen mid-thought, mid-hope. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. A small alien child approached, one of the Vator, perhaps. It held out a glowing crystal, a symbol of shared mourning. Helena knelt, took it with both hands, and whispered, "Thank you?" As the child skittered away, her comm pinged softly. Echo 0 active. Countdown initiated. Time remaining, 1 hour 58 minutes and 12 seconds. Helena rose. She looked back at the council through the panoramic glass. So many stars. So many species, all convinced they had humanity figured out. Primitive. Aggressive. Emotional. They weren't wrong. But they weren't right either. Not yet. She turned and walked away, her footsteps silent, precise, inevitable. Chancellor Relex's palace shimmered beneath the twin suns of Zyria Prime, a gleaming testament to power and polished deception. Decorative banners fluttered in artificial wind, bearing the symbol of the Zyrian ascendancy, a silver fawn coiled around a broken sphere. To the casual observer, it was tradition. To Helena Vaz, it was taunt-made architecture. She watched the holo stream of Relex's most recent address from her ship's observation deck. "My people," he intoned, voice syrupy with false humility. "We mourn the violence that occurred on neutral ground. But let it be clear, peace is only possible when all species recognize their place." Helena muted it. "Still dancing around an apology," she muttered. The countdown blinked silently in the upper corner of her display. 57 minutes and 41 seconds. She closed the window and summoned the encrypted comms relay. A rotating red cube pulsed on screen before flattening into a line of code. It connected. A familiar voice answered, calm, deep, tinged with old regret. "Commander Voss. You shouldn't be contacting me." "Hello, Muru," she said, leaning back. "You're still tracking Union chatter?" Dr. Muruthauran was once a scholar of interspecies ethics. Now he lived somewhere between exile and obscurity, too honest to serve his homeworld, too dangerous to be embraced by the Union. "I saw the footage," he said. "Eli didn't provoke anyone. He never did." A pause. Then, "And you've activated it. Leviathan." Helena's voice dropped to a whisper. "They think they can kill ideas by silencing the man who speaks them. They forget humans don't believe in silence. You're gambling with more than your reputation." She smiled without warmth. "I don't have one anymore." 35 minutes later, her vessel crossed the Helix expanse, a dense lattice of quantum interference fields. Navigating it required precision, patience, and a human disregard for fear. The stars here seemed to ripple, like reflections over broken glass. In the command bay, Helena met with Lieutenant Reese Calderon, her ship's only other crew member. Tall, sharp-eyed, and loyal to a fault, Reese had served under her during the siege of Sharon Drift. He was one of the few who remembered what humanity looked like before peace made them diplomatic. "We're in position," he said. "Payload is synced. Just say the word." She hesitated. "Not yet." Reese folded his arms. "If we wait too long, Union sensors will detect the wormhole echo. We'll lose the window." Helena didn't respond immediately. Instead, she activated a small audio file, her brother's voice, recorded days before his murder. "We don't bring peace by pretending we're no longer dangerous. We bring it by showing restraint, even when we could dominate." Reese scowled. "He died for that restraint." Helena nodded. "And so will his killers." On Zyria Prime, a celebration had begun. Officially, it was to mark the end of a lunar cycle, but no one mistook the timing for coincidence. Fireworks burst above obsidian spires. Crowds chanted slogans not of peace, but conquest. In a private chamber beneath the palace, Chancellor Relax spoke with General Varn, the very soldier who'd pulled the trigger. "Public support has never been stronger," Varn growled. "They're calling for full removal of humans from the council." Relax sipped from a glass of blue fire nectar. "They're brutes," he said with satisfaction. Primitive, emotional, reactive. It won't matter what Earth does next. They're alone. A tremor passed through the chamber floor. Varn frowned. Did you feel? And then it came. A sound that defied understanding. Not an explosion, worse. A harmonic dissonance that twisted light and space, as if reality had just been told a lie and refused to believe it. From orbit, Helena watched. Leviathan had not been designed to destroy in the traditional sense. It unraveled atomic cohesion. A ripple of absolute unbeing surged across Zyria Prime's second moon, once home to their deep military command. It vanished, not in flame, but into a clean absence, like a chalk mark erased mid-stroke. The Union received no warning. No declaration of war. Only silence, followed by a single human signal broadcast across every major channel. A plain screen. A simple message. We bled. Now you understand why we don't forget. Back in her ship, Reese stared at the monitors. You just made Earth the most feared world in the galaxy. No, Helena said softly. I reminded them that we're not children playing dress-up in galactic robes. He looked at her. The Council will retaliate. She tapped the glass. They'd better think very, very hard before they try. Her comms buzzed again, an incoming transmission on a diplomatic frequency. She frowned. Origin, Creel High Command. Subject, request for treaty discussions. Message, perhaps it is time we listen to the humans. Helena let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Outside the viewport, the stars kept their distance. And somewhere, in a galaxy that had long thought it understood humanity, fear began to change shape, into something less certain. Not monsters. Not heroes. Something else entirely. The first screams from Zyria Prime didn't come from the citizens, but from the gravity technicians in orbital control. They were trained to detect anomalies, black holes, neutron surges, temporal distortions. What they saw instead was impossible. The second moon, Virator, didn't explode, it simply ceased to be. No shockwave. No debris. One moment, it hung like a polished coin above the planet. The next, it was gone, erased as if plucked from time. Down below, on the planet's surface, the light dimmed, not from shadow, but confusion. Birds stuttered in mid-flight. Ocean stilled. Instruments screamed. And above them, Earth said nothing. Commander Helena Voss sat in her ship's war room, watching the post-strike data stream in. Reese stood beside her, stiff as iron, eyes bouncing between live satellite feeds and diplomatic chatter. They're scrambling, he muttered, trying to frame it as a natural collapse. Internal sabotage. Anything but what it was. Helena didn't blink. They'll lie until the air burns. He angled the display. Casualties under 2 million. Their planetary shield absorbed the ripple, but the upper colonies, wiped clean. Leviathan hit its mark. Reese turned to her, his voice quieter. And if they come back with more than words? They won't. Her tone didn't waver. Because now they understand what we meant when we said no more martyrs. Elsewhere, deep within the Union's Emergency Council spire on Caliph 3, panic disguised itself as protocol. The humans must be sanctioned, growled Minister Var, his scaled tail thudding against polished stone. This was disproportionate. Genocidal. But technically, said a Vator advisor, voice like dry leaves. They didn't fire on Zyria Prime itself. They struck an orbital military command. That's a legal nuance. They erased a celestial body. And the Zyrian soldier erased a human diplomat. Silence fell. On a raised dais, Councillor Drali, a Creel elder with skin like molten amber, raised one withered hand. You all watched it happen. The assassination, the lies. You expected humanity to kneel after swallowing that insult. They should have appealed through channels. Bar hissed. Drali leaned forward. They were the channels. We made them believe in our system, then allowed one of our own to shoot their voice dead in the center of it. No one responded. Then Drali added, almost gently, and we were fools to think they'd forget. Meanwhile, Chancellor Relax stood before the smoldering remains of his war room. His eyes, usually unreadable, darted now, desperate, disbelieving. Generals surrounded him, arguing, blaming. It was meant to be a message, not an invitation to extinction, one barked. We underestimated them, said another. Again. Relax slammed his fist onto the console. Earth will burn for this. Prepare the fleet. No, a new voice interrupted. Not loud, but absolute. General Varn, the soldier who'd killed Eli Voss, stepped into the wreckage, helmet under his arm. Commander Voss didn't target civilians, he said. She hit our pride. She hit it surgically. She killed millions. Relax spat. And you sent me to kill one, a diplomat, on record, on camera, in a hall that guaranteed immunity. Tell me again who fired the first shot. Relax's jaw twitched. You swore loyalty to me. Varn's expression hardened. I swore loyalty to Zyria. And you just made it vulnerable. Back aboard Helena's vessel, a soft chime echoed through the cabin. An incoming request, Galactic Council transmission, Priority Alpha. Reese raised an eyebrow. Open it? She nodded. A full-body projection filled the room. Counselor Drali appeared, stooped but regal, flanked by multiple species. No one spoke at first. Then, Commander Voss. You've made your point, loudly. Helena folded her arms. Didn't think you'd call to compliment my aim. Drali gave a weary half-smile. This isn't sarcasm. This is surrender. The Union will open proceedings to fully investigate Zyria's breach of accords. Earth will have a seat at the prosecution. Reese muttered under his breath. We're being invited to prosecute a planet we just humbled. Drali ignored him. You showed restraint by limiting the strike. It's earned respect. And fear. Both are useful. Helena stepped closer. I didn't do this for leverage. No, Drali replied. You did it for justice. That's why it worked. Then the transmission ended. Later that night, Helena stood alone in her quarters. The stars outside seemed quieter now, if only in her imagination. In the corner, a recording flickered on loop, Eli, smiling in a field on Mars, squinting at the sun. He never wanted war. He wanted change. But sometimes, the galaxy only changed when forced to stare into the abyss humans kept buried under their civility. She tapped her comm. Record new message. To Galactic Archive. Subject, Aftermath Log, Commander H. Voss. This is not a victory. This is a warning. Humanity is not your enemy, unless you treat us like one. We grieve. We remember. And when pushed, we respond. We're not your children, your pets, or your curiosities. We're survivors. And we build peace not by being weak, but by being feared enough to be left alone. She ended the recording. A soft beep confirmed upload. Outside, Leviathan powered down, returning to silence. But its memory remained. So did hers. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. The air buzzed with silent tension, as if the void itself held its breath. Every seat was occupied. Every translator drone hovered at full charge. Even the walls, ancient crystal slabs designed to absorb and amplify sound, seemed unwilling to echo what was about to unfold. At the center stood Commander Helena Voss, flanked by no guards, no entourage. Just a woman in black, the insignia of Earth glinting faintly on her collar. She was neither defiant nor humbled, only present, poised like the stillness before a storm. Counselor Drali opened the proceedings. Let the record reflect, he said, his voice aged but steady, that Earth has been summoned not as the accused, but as the aggrieved. A wave of quiet shock passed through the chamber. It was one thing to fear a species, it was another to acknowledge them. Helena stepped forward. I won't speak long, she began, her voice sharp but calm. What happened on Zyria was not an act of revenge. It was a final warning. We tried silence. We tried diplomacy. You answered with blood. Relax was absent. His seat sat empty, sealed under censure. General Varn had surrendered himself to the tribunal, requesting to be tried alone. You let one of your own shoot Peace in the chest, Helena continued. You broadcast it across the stars. And still, Earth did not fire on your cities. We dismantled your command, not your people. She paused, letting that distinction settle. Because we don't kill blindly. We kill precisely. From the side, a reporter whispered into their feed. She's rewriting the balance of power with a sentence. Helena's eyes scanned the room. Now you ask what humanity wants. We want the same thing we always did, respect. Not through dominance. Through memory. Through understanding. Through fear, if that's the only language you still respect. She turned, descending the steps. No one stopped her. Later, aboard Earth's flagship cruiser Athena, Rhys stood at the observation deck, arms folded. They've issued full censure of Zyria, he said. Varn's already confessed. Publicly denounced Relax. Did they ever apologize? Helena asked, eyes fixed on the spiral arms of the Orion Reach. Rhys shook his head. They issued a regret statement. Carefully worded, culturally vague. But the Creole just offered us alliance status. With trade clauses. She exhaled slowly. It's a start. He hesitated. You could lead the council now, you know. They'd vote for you. Helena didn't answer. The idea of ruling had never appealed to her, not even now. She'd won, yes, but not without cost. I don't want a throne, she said at last. Just a future where we don't have to bury idealists for believing in peace. On Mars, in the red dust plains of the Arcanes Memorial Range, a new monument had risen, tall and austere, black stone carved with the names of every diplomat killed in the line of unity. At its center, Eli Voss, voice of Earth. Light in dark times. Children visited the site on school trips. Veterans stood silently, some saluting, some weeping. Others simply touched the stone as if hoping to absorb a fraction of its weight. A message looped gently through soft speakers. Peace is not the absence of war. It is the presence of respect. And respect, like truth, demands consequence. Far from Earth, beyond the reach of trade routes and politics, two children, one human, one Thauran, played in the sands of a neutral moon. They built a structure from broken crystal and rock, something halfway between a fortress and a sanctuary. What's it called? Asked the alien girl, her skin shimmering in the dim starlight. The boy smiled. Hope. It's called Hope. She tilted her head. Will it fall? He paused, considering. Then, only if no one remembers why we built it. In the heart of Union space, old leaders whispered of a new galactic order, one with teeth sharpened by grief. Earth was no longer an anomaly. It was precedent. The war that hadn't happened echoed louder than those that had. Not because of the body count, but because of the restraint. Back in her quarters, Helena watched the stars through her private viewport, arms crossed, drink untouched. She hadn't slept in 2 days. She didn't need to. The fire inside her wouldn't allow it. A soft knock. Rhys stepped in, holding a data pad. Final reports from Council Security. No further threats. Union forces are standing down. She gave him a nod, silent. He hesitated before adding, You did the impossible. She turned to him. No. I just reminded them that we don't wear chains well. He nodded, stepping back. Just before the door slid shut, he asked, And what now? Helena looked back at the stars, eyes unreadable. Now, we make sure they never forget.